In this video, we're going to be calculating the scale of a map that we don't know the scale of from a map that we actually know a scale of. Now we're going to have, I've printed off the examples from the assignment 3 practice assignment. So this is kind of walking you through that same process. And I will point out the things that I want you to do differently as we go through it. So keep that in mind as you're watching me do this. So if you come down and take a look at what I've got for materials, I've got my ruler, I've got my state campus map, and then I've got the Calgary Municipal Topographic Series. Now, some of you guys may not be able to get this plotted. So if that is the case, please let me know. It is in your student resources. You can take it to a plotting shop and plot it there. And if you can't get access to one, then you won't be able to plot it, obviously. So I'm hoping that you guys are able to do this. Make sure it's plotted to scale. Just ask them to plot it like as is. And a good example here in town is InSource. So if you're going to try to get this done and plotted, InSource will do it for you. And if they can't, they will point you to a shop that can do it. Most geomatics places have plan plotting, big plotters. So you may be able to go talk to somebody at a surveying company and ask them if they don't mind plotting something, and you can just pay a fee for that. So that's a possibility. I would say it's probably going to be $20 to plot it at the most, maybe 30. Really, like that 30 would be the absolute most, but maybe $20 for you to plot it. So use the PDF that's in the student resources and you can do it there. Once you've got this plotted, then you can plot the state campus map. The state campus map is just printed on a piece of paper, just kind of printed as is, and it will come out on a regular 8.5 by 11. Color plotting is not needed, color printing is not needed. All you need to do is just be able to see lines. So make sure when you do this process that we're going into, that you have 2 maps of the same area. So we can see here in the Calgary Municipal Topographic Series that we have state campus here, which matches the state campus here. There is some time difference between them, so you're going to see some differences in the buildings, such as the Thomas Riley that's up here. It looks different here. So that's one thing to keep in mind, that there's been renovations that have been done, so you can't necessarily rely on what you are seeing. There's also the things that haven't changed, though, is like Senator Burns hasn't changed, the campus center has not changed, the Heritage Hall area has not changed, and the residence here, as well as the Crandall Center. I'm going to stick to just using Senator Burns. Now, what you would want to do when you are doing this practice is do several measurements and then take an average. And the reason I say that is because I want you to see how it varies depending on where you are in the map and what direction you're going. Because if you do north-south versus east-west, does that give you a different answer? So I'm going to start off, like I said, with Senator Burns. And so I'm going to always start with the map that I know the information of. So I'm going to take my ruler, and here I'm going to go from my end of my J-wing, and then I'm going to go from the east side of the K-wing. Direction does not necessarily matter if it's a straight line in this case. So, and I can see that after measuring, it is pretty much 5 centimeters. So my DM, I had a black pen that was working just fine 2 minutes ago, and now it's not working. And that one's not working at all. Weird. What happened to the black pen? Okay, I'm going to do something different. Okay, DM equals 5 centimeters, and this is DM1, because this is the one that we know. The scale of this map is 1 to 2,500, which you can read on the bottom there. So now what we don't know is the ground distance, because we have to calculate it. Now the reason I tell you to get a map of 2 different areas is because the ground distance does not change. So this is really an important feature of being able to compare maps. Because as soon as you have just because I look at a different map doesn't mean that the building changes or the road changes. So a really good example is that you were looking at a picture of me on the screen, on your screen, then you move to your phone and you're watching the same video on your phone. I promise I did not change size. So I'm still the same size in real person, I'm just changing size on your screen. So it's the same thing with these maps, is that just because the measurements are different doesn't mean that the real size is different. So ground distance is always the same between the two. So what I'm going to do with my ground distance, I need to calculate that. So I have 1 over 2,500, which equals 5 centimeters, divided by dg. So the 2,500 is 12500, right? Yes, centimeters, which is approximately 125 meters, which makes sense for a building, like for a commercial building. So then I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go down to my map here, and I'm going to measure the map for Senator Burns on the campus map that I don't know. And this one, it is 3.1 centimeters. So my DM2 is 3.1 centimeters. Now I need to do the calculation to find out what the scale is. I have DG because it's right here. It has not changed. The building did not change size because you looked at a different map. It's still the same size. So the ground distance is the same, only this has changed. So now I can figure out what my scale is. So 1 over S equals my DM2 over DG, and that equals my DM2 is 3.1 centimeters divided by 125 centimeters. So I take 12,500 centimeters and I divide it by 3.1, and I get a value of 4,032.258. Is that my answer? No, it is not. I have asked for a scale. So there's two things that we need to do here. The first thing is my rounding. Which way do I round when I deal with scales? The only way I round is up. Doesn't matter what the number is after that decimal place, because remember that I'm going to lose information if it bleeds off the page. So I always round up so that it actually shrinks it down a little bit. So my actual answer always has a 1 colon because it is a scale, it is not just a number. And my answer is 4033. And that is how you do the value or find out the scale of a map that you don't know the scale of if you have a map that you do know the scale of.